They say history is written by the victors, but what if the truth was buried with the fallen? Every secret leaves a trace, if you know where to look. This is The Broken Truth, decoding history, one broadcast at a time. The Broken Truth podcast, where history meets conspiracy. Every case tells a story, every story hides a lie. Welcome back to the Broken Truth podcast. I'm your host, Garrett. We're adding a little bit of a different segment to the show. We're going to be doing a little bit of a commentary. This episode specifically is going to be covering why comfort always defeats truth over time. So, we'll begin. There's a reason uncomfortable truths don't spread naturally. It isn't because they're false. It isn't because people are incapable of understanding them. And it isn't because information is hidden behind locked doors. Most of the time, the truth is visible. It's accessible, documented, available to anyone willing to look. The problem is that truth asks something of you, and comfort does not. Every society makes a trade eventually. Not in a single moment. Not through a formal agreement, and not with clear awareness. It trades discomfort for stability. It trades uncertainty for routine. It trades questions for predictability. At first, this trade feels responsible. Digging deeper feels unnecessary. Questioning the explanation feels disruptive. Complicating the narrative feels indulgent. People have lives to live, bills to pay, families to support. So choosing comfort feels mature. It's practical. It almost feels wise. And this is how the trade begins, not as surrender, but as self-management. Truth is inefficient. It requires time. It requires attention. It requires a tolerance for ambiguity that modern life rarely allows. Truth doesn't fit neatly into schedules. It doesn't respect deadlines. It doesn't care whether you're ready for it. Comfort, on the other hand, integrates seamlessly. It aligns with productivity. It aligns with routine. It aligns with momentum. In a system optimized for speed, efficiency, and output, anything that slows the process is treated as friction. Truth is that friction. And friction is something systems are built to eliminate. People often assume that avoidance of truth is a sign of ignorance, but it usually isn't. More often, it's a form of self-protection. Truth can destabilize identity. It can strain relationships. It can introduce responsibility where comfort once allowed distance. So the mind negotiates. It doesn't deny the truth outright. Rather, it postpones it. Later, when there's more time, when things are calmer. But things are never calmer, and later never arrives. Truth doesn't need to be silenced. It only needs to be surrounded. Surrounded by noise, by convenience, by endless alternatives competing for attention. When information is constant, nothing feels urgent. When everything's accessible, nothing feels essential. Truth becomes just another option in an infinite feed. It's not rejected, it's just deprioritized. And optional things are easy to ignore without guilt. Over time, comfort stops being a preference. It becomes an identity. People begin to define themselves as reasonable, balanced, and not extreme. Discomfort is reframed as negativity. Curiosity is reframed as obsession. And questioning is reframed as instability. Not because these labels are accurate, but because they protect emotional equilibrium. Comfort becomes synonymous with health, and anything that disrupts comfort is treated as unhealthy by default. This is where the conversation usually goes wrong. People imagine control as something imposed. But the most durable systems don't impose belief. They encourage preference. Sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled podcast, but this episode is brought to you by the Broken Truth merch. Support the show. Wear the truth. Official Broken Truth podcast merch is live now. Links in the description. And since you've made it this far in the episode, comment #BrokenTruth and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. Because when you speak up, the algorithm listens. And so does the world. They don't require you to agree. They only require you to adapt. As long as routines remain intact, as long as daily life feels manageable, as long as questioning feels exhausting, nothing needs to be enforced. Compliance emerges naturally when resistance feels inconvenient. No suppressions required. No coercion is necessary. Just patience. Listen closely to how people talk about truth over time. It's rarely dismissed as false. Instead, it's described as too much, not helpful, unproductive, and divisive. Truth becomes framed not as wrong, but as inappropriate. And once truth is categorized as socially inconvenient, it no longer needs to be confronted. It can simply be avoided politely. Avoiding truth doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like relief. Relief from responsibility. Relief from moral complexity. Relief from the pressure to act. But relief has a cost. Over time, awareness begins to feel like a burden rather than a tool. Those who remain curious start to feel isolated. Those who ask questions feel out of step. Those who resist comfort are framed as restless or dissatisfied. Not because they're wrong, but because they disrupt the emotional equilibrium of others. Every generation believes it's more informed than the last. And in many ways it is. The tools are better, the access is wider, the archives are deeper. But access does not equal engagement. The volume of information creates the illusion of awareness without the burden of understanding. Knowing something exists becomes a substitute for grappling with it. And comfort quietly reasserts itself as the default. Eventually, comfort stops being a personal preference. It becomes a collective value. Policies are evaluated by how disruptive they feel. Narratives are judged by how calming they are. Truth is tolerated only if it doesn't demand change. At this stage, truth no longer needs opposition. It simply needs to wait, because comfort always has momentum. People assume truth loses because it's weaker. The reality is, it isn't. Truth loses because it requires endurance. It requires sitting with discomfort longer than comfort offers relief. And most systems are designed to minimize discomfort at all costs. Not out of malice, but out of optimization. So the question isn't whether truth exists. It always does. The question is whether a culture built for convenience, speed, and emotional efficiency can tolerate discomfort long enough for truth to matter. Because once comfort becomes the highest value, truth doesn't need to be destroyed. It only needs to wait, and it always does. Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Broken Truth. This new series is intentionally designed to make you think. It's not meant to answer questions, dive deep into anything. It's just meant to bring up topics that leave the door open and encourage a deeper thought process. So if you like this episode, be sure to hit a follow on whatever platform you're listening on, leave us a 5-star review, and share it with someone who is searching for the truth. And until next time, stay awake, stay aware, and stay questioning the narrative.
In a world built on hidden histories and half-truths, we've only just begun to peel back the layers. Because what you've heard tonight was never meant to be known, but you were meant to find it. If you're ready to go deeper, leave us a review, comment your thoughts, share this episode, and step inside the archives. Join the inner circle, where the real evidence is kept. This is the broken truth, because the truth isn't whole, it's broken.